In Community Safety MEC, Sizakele Nkosi-Malobane says she's saddened by the death of a traffic officer. The officer was knocked down by a bus while on duty on the N1 highway in Pretoria. The MEC joins us now live on the line for more on this incident. Afternoon to you, MEC. So what exactly happened in Pretoria yesterday?
Good afternoon. What actually happened is the officers, the team were involved in a program called Operation Malaysia, which focuses on overloaded vehicles as well as unroad vehicles. And in this case, they were working in Marine, focusing on vehicles that were either going to the east, which is Limpopo, and of course beyond the border of Limpopo. And when the officer tried to stop this particular bus, the driver could not stop. He actually decided not to, maybe it's because of the brakes, he actually then knocked him off, and unfortunately our officer died on the spot, and he was actually on duty, and he was not the only one that was affected. And we then arrested the driver that was involved, the driver of that particular bus.
How frequent is this sort of thing where motorists either just don't stop because they don't want to stop for officers at a roadblock, or B, they don't stop because their vehicles are in such bad condition that they are unable to hit the brakes?
It's not something that happens regularly, but and the reason why it doesn't happen regularly is because our officers are trained to observe and to be able to identify a vehicle that might not stop if it is stopped by them. And in this case, it was very unfortunate that the officer believed that the guy was actually going to stop. But it happens from time to time where either because of unroadworthiness of that particular vehicle, the person could not stop it, and he actually knocked down our officers. It happened in Eguruleni about 6 months ago, and it is now happening again in Marine Hill. But we hope that this is the last incident that happened, because we have actually instructed our officers to be very, very hard on people who are driving unroadworthy vehicles or driving under the influence of alcohol, as well as people that just decide to undermine the law. When stopped, they refuse to stop, and they need to be as harsh as possible on those particular people.
I'd like us to come back to the issues as far as traffic is concerned on Gauteng roads in a moment, but more broadly, in terms of the safety of officers around Gauteng province, be it the JMPD, the Tshwane PD, and the like, are you finding that their lives are becoming more at risk? I remember an incident in the Joburg CBD where an off-duty officer was killed there.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, just today we had 2 officers that were shot in Forsberg, and thank God they were not killed. 2 officers and one citizen were shot. We do have people who from time to time will undermine the law, and it is not only in Gauteng, it's all over the place. Not long ago we had Nigerians that decided to assist one Nigerian who was resisting to be arrested, and they were assisting him, forcing the officers not to arrest them. And we are fortunate that those officers stood their ground and called for backup and made sure that that person was arrested, together with those that were trying to assist him. All in all, about 7 people were arrested. Even today, those that shot our 2 officers, they were actually arrested, some of them, and we are still looking for others. But it's something that we are beginning to see. It's beginning to show its ugly head in Gauteng. But I can assure you that we will actually deal with the issue decisively. And I must also indicate that we're seeing an increase of foreign nationals that decide to undermine the laws of this country, when in their own country you'll find them adhering to those particular laws. You saw what happened in GP Street, where Pakistanians, when our officers were enforcing laws, they decided to attack them. The Nigerians in Tshwane a few days ago, they decided to undermine and attack them. Same applies to what happened in Forsberg today. But I must say, and we are also going to work and actually meet with their with our country representatives in South Africa to try and address this particular challenge where people decide to do what is wrong in order to avoid being arrested. But
MEC,
yes.
Forgive me, without cutting you off here, is it not perhaps rather reductive of you to reduce these acts to the nationality of the people in question, given that we are living in a country where there's a sense of a general lawlessness that we are experiencing in South Africa, where locals are involved in crime?
I was definitely about to address that. It is not only those, and I'm not refusing it, but I'm highlighting it, that it has happened, and we have seen that it has happened, including the bus driver, by the way. He's also a person who has decided to undermine our laws. But we also have an increase amongst our own citizens that you'll find them attacking our officers. And they know that when it happens, we'll deal with them immediately and make sure that they get arrested. And if they resist arrest, we'll then use minimum force. And it's a challenge that happens across the board. It doesn't also necessarily mean that it's only one nationality or only South Africans, but it's happening on almost everyone else. But I must say, it must be dealt with, and all those that are visitors in our country must also respect the country's laws, because it is important that when people are visitors in one country, they must also try and make sure that they respect the laws of that particular country.
How do you begin then to deal with incidents of crime involving foreigners, because there are quite a few, especially in areas like the CBD? How do you deal with that issue while balancing or navigating the sensitivities around issues of it possibly coming across as a xenophobic attempt at clamping out crime?
Crime is crime, my dear, and it doesn't matter who committed it. And we are not going to hesitate to deal with anyone when he commits crime, irrespective of who will say whatever. If you think that you commit crime and when we arrest you, you think that you are xenophobic, just forget it. We are definitely going to deal with you. We will arrest you if you commit crime. And if you are a South African, we'll do the same. We'll arrest you whether you commit crime against foreign nationals, whether through being xenophobic, we'll also arrest you. So whoever commits crimes, will act in time, but will also act as that particular individual.
Okay, I want to go back to the roads very quickly before you and I part ways. 22 people, at least 22 we're told, died just between Christmas and the 26th of December in Gauteng alone. What measures do you have in place going into the rush for the New Year's holiday and indeed the rush back to the centres of employment in Gauteng at the beginning of January?
We've already increased visibility, and I'm sure driving around Gauteng, you've seen that there's a lot of vehicles that belong to different law enforcement agencies. But what we've also done is they're now working as a team, which we call GLIF. GLIF is Gauteng Law Enforcement Agencies. We're also getting assistance from private security firms that are willing to work with us in roadblocks, particularly in the urban areas. We hope that through police visibility, but also through a no-nonsense approach, we will be able to address that particular issue. We've also increased the number of people who are arrested for drunken driving, using a cell phone whilst driving, as well as not wearing your seatbelt and the speed stuff. So we've increased a number of those, and because those are the contributing factors to our road fatalities. And it is interesting that we no longer see more and more people dying in our highways. We're seeing more and more people dying in the urban areas or in the residential areas. And such people die when they leave places of entertainment. Pedestrians in particular, when they are drunk, they don't wear visible clothing, as well as they don't use pathways in order to avoid to be knocked down by vehicles. But we have increased visibility there. We're now dealing with jaywalking. Anyone we found in a wrong place, we also take him to a police station or head to a police station and charge that person, and he gets released when he pays a spot fine.
All right, Gauteng Community Safety MEC Sizakele Nkosi.